Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Krystle Clear podcast. Today on Krystle Clear, I am sitting down with Josh Baellow, real estate veteran, husband, and father. We're talking about modern masculinity, raising strong boys without toxic narratives, and parenting with intention in today's cultural climate. Josh also shares what it's like raising Mexican children with a first generation immigrant wife and how that shapes his family. And of course, we get into real estate, marriage later in life, and what actually makes a partnership work. Josh, thank you.
Krystle, it's an honor to be here with you.
Okay, how long have we known each other?
2010, 11,
Yeah.
right? And then I joined Platinum right after that, 2012 probably.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
It's been a great run.
A long time.
It
Look
has.
at us.
Yeah.
We were babies, bright-eyed, bushy-tail, running downtown Austin. And
Yep.
now here we are, parents, and hanging on by a thread.
Well,
Real estate.
I still feel like that younger version of myself most of the time.
I agree.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely feel like we're getting better with age.
Absolutely.
And we're like redefining, what our age used to look like, right? Compared to what it looks like now. So.
And we have less F's left to give.
The amen.
It's beautiful about aging.
Amen with that. Well, let's jump straight into it. Masculinity without extremes. There's so much conversation right now about masculinity. On one end, toxic masculinity. On the other, a confusion about what masculinity even is. How do you define healthy masculinity? Okay, guys, I have to preface with I have major Team J right now. I just came from a physical therapy appointment. So if I sound like I have a lisp where I'm like, it's because I'm in a little bit of pain. And yeah, I just wanted to preface it with that.
Take it slow. Do what you need to do.
Yeah. So how do you define healthy masculinity today?
I think it's getting back to fundamentals with being a man, right? Because we hear a lot about the lack of communication that men provide their relationships or in the dating world, and men are becoming more isolated, as we hear, especially young men. So what I demand is just communication, and AI will never replace communication.
Right.
When we worry about what kind of jobs our young men are going to get as they age and as they go into the working world, AI can't replace a good communicator. And then it's the old things, holding doors open for women, and being polite. And most importantly, I think where I've done this my entire life, and I hope my son does as well, make any woman around you feel safe, feel protected, feel guarded. And I think that gets you a long way in life.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, as a woman, I've been married, right? And for me in that marriage, well, I've been married twice. In that first marriage, I felt, safe, and I felt like, I was in my feminine energy initially, and then I would say it totally transitioned out of that to where it became more of like a mother type role, which is exhausting for women, right?
Right.
And then in that second marriage, same thing. It was very much like there was an age difference and a career difference. And then I stepped into motherhood in that. And it very much felt like mothering, two people. And I'm finally now in a relationship where I'm like, I'm the passenger princess. I knew it existed. I knew I wanted it, and to where I can effortlessly just like, you see the videos of the women walking through the airport and they're like not worried about anything because their man has the luggage, the passport, like the boarding passes, and you're just there. I feel really safe and really secure, and it allows me to actually be in my feminine energy.
Wonderful. And doesn't it help both sides of the relationship?
Oh, 100%.
And I still feel men should be providers. And that may mean supporting a spouse or partner that earns more income than you, but you can still be a male masculine provider in other ways.
100%.
Kids, support, biggest supporter of your partner there is. I am my wife's biggest fan and biggest cheerleader in her career and whatever she wants to do. And I think even if that financial support isn't there to begin with, at least there's potential.
Yeah.
If a guy has some potential from the beginning, and you grow up together, that like our parents didn't wait to find the perfect mate or get financially secure before they got together. They bonded together because they had to. They struggled and they thrived together.
Right.
So I think that's a little different now, where most people wait to find their partners until they've established themselves.
Yeah. So that's so true. And I think there's definitely like value in that. Like you have to be a whole person. And I think value in terms of more of like finding yourself emotionally. I do think it's important. Like when I think about Jackson, I want the idea of Jackson getting married young in his 20s. Hell no. Like I want you to have a career, go to school, have a career, travel the world, date different people, like have real life world experiences. But I think the challenge is now people are doing that, but then they're getting so set in their own ways and so hyper independent that they're like, women, we're good. We don't need a man, which I agree. Never settle, right? Never settle. When I became single this time around, I was like, oh, I am freaking good. I like being single. It's really peaceful. It's like me and my kid and my life. But
then when you get to that point, what happens?
Well, you get to that point, and then I met someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I met someone when I was least expecting it. But the adverse is like some of these women, who just are like, oh, set in my ways, and everything's like a red flag to them. And I think you made such an important point of like, it's the potential. No one's perfect. You look in the mirror, you're far from perfect. I have so many things that I need to work on and will always have to work on, but I am a good person and deserving and worthy of love. And for me, like at my age now, dating in my 40s, it's so different, but it's like, I don't need him to be more successful than me. I don't need him to be, but that security, that safety, that love. And you can tell me from a male's perspective, I think the adverse is men they have to reach certain milestones in order to propose or be ready to get married, want to have children. And it's like, it's never gonna be perfect.
True. And I look at it as a personal journey. The friends I have from high school that married their high school sweethearts, I look at them and I wonder, would that have been better? Would that have been easier? What do you think?
Yeah, hell, I don't know.
It's a journey, and I'm glad that I did it like you did because we had those experiences along the way. But I think it's up to what's inside of you that what works best. And I love the people who've made successful marriages for now 30 years.
Yeah.
That to their high school sweethearts, and I look at them with pride.
Yeah.
That they did it. Different journeys for everybody. And I think to what you said. Women put up with a lot of shit from men, but men should also be afforded some grace because we develop slower than women.
Yeah.
We are less mature than you. We can multitask less efficiently than women. So, I succeeded in the single world, and often because of drinking provided lubrication to get out and communicate. And get out of the house and go speak to strangers and get yourself in situations that lead to meeting people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's hard. I know that there should be red flags. Definitely. There are real red flags that everyone should pay attention to. But I think we all deserve some grace. And I give people a second chance, not a third.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's good. So let's talk about raising boys in the age of incels and online influence. We're seeing the rise of incel culture and very extreme online narratives aimed at young boys. How do you raise a strong, confident boy who feels proud to be a boy without absorbing harmful ideology?
That's tricky. Boys and girls should be loved, told they're loved, but also boys should be uncomfortable at times. and young men should be uncomfortable at times. Going back to what I just said, if I'm in the grocery store with my son and we see a female classmate from his school, I demand that he goes up and speaks to that
Yeah.
girl. It's getting out of your comfort zone, which a lot of men in this culture aren't demanded to do because they don't have to. They're protected by a shield of online
Yeah.
or computer or sports betting or whatever activities that people are into where you're not getting out of your comfort zone. What are other ways I think
Yeah.
that you
No,
look for?
it's so true. Like when we were dating back in our 20s, like I was getting hit on at the bar. Like people were coming up to me and asking me, as strangers were asking me out on dates. A stranger that I
Right.
just met
Yeah.
2 seconds ago. There was no like deep, maybe there was Facebook, but there was no like deep diving into Instagram. And now there's apps where you exchange a phone number and you can totally look and see if they have a criminal background, if
Oh,
their
right.
address matches up, if like, which is good and bad at the same time. I think for our kids, Jackson's totally an iPad kid, a Roblox. He always gets after me because I say it wrong.
Right.
A Roblox kid, which
Yeah.
of course I monitor it. He can't even freaking read,
Yeah.
so I'm not worried about like predators coming for him. But at the same time, he's growing up in this like digital AI world, and it's scary because it is this culture of like hating women and muting women, right? And it's just interesting. And thank God Jackson has my personality. He is like super outgoing.
That will serve him well his entire life.
Thank
Yes.
God. I think it's who he is to his core.
Great. Yeah.
And he already has a girlfriend at 5. I'm like, what the hell? I thought this started like way later in life. He actually, her mom works at the school, and he went up to her and he was like, I'm Amaya's boyfriend. And then his mom was like, or her mom was like, no, sir. No,
Well,
we're not doing that.
At least he verbalized it. That's great.
She was like, no
Yeah.
boyfriend, no girlfriend. He's like, well, I am, and ran off. And I'm like, okay, kid, I love it. He's like Mr. Personality. But I think my role as his mother, and I talk about this a lot, is just to encourage the emotions, right? It's safe. It's a safe space. Feel it, and then, move past it. Your happiness is a choice, and all of your emotions are a choice. And so I never want to I always want to validate his feelings. And it's very important to me that I raise a sensitive little boy. But then at the same time, I'm tough on him too.
He's still going to be a boy.
Yeah.
Their boys tend not to be sensitive at times, and that's okay. They're boys, right?
Yeah.
So I think going about it both ways by encouraging open-mindedness, communication, sensitivity, manners, that they can be well-rounded.
I just saw a girlfriend sent it to me, and it was this mom, and she had like a 12-year-old, and she's like, ever since they were 6, I've been going out on dates with my son to where I have him open the car door, I have him open the door to the restaurant, I have him order, I have him pay the bill, tip, and I'm like, that's incredible. I want to start doing that with Jackson because I do want him to know. Nick and I can model what a healthy, loving, affectionate relationship looks like. But I have an opportunity here to implement that in my son.
Absolutely.
Because it's important for him to be a good partner. I can do my job for him being a good, kind individual, but I also want him to be a really good partner to someone.
Yeah.
So
eventually.
Yeah, but shit, exactly. Not
maybe
Amaya,
not at 5.
Not Amaya at 6 years old, but eventually. Just, and also with boundaries, right? With women, he's like, Mom, you got a big old booty, and he'll smack my butt and think it's funny, which I think it's funny too. But then at the same time, I'm like, I need to no, and so I'll let him do it, and then I'm like, okay, don't do that again. If he does it again, I'm like, if someone tells you no, no means no.
And then to handle failure. because we all fail at something. And so, we want to protect our children, obviously, but we want to actually prepare them for failure, that when life happens and tough things happen and things don't go their way, they don't go down a rabbit hole and get depressed or destructive. That they, haven't your biggest successes in life come from failures?
Oh, yeah.
And so that's different now. What's the difference between a third grade class 25 years ago and a third grade class now? 25 years ago, half the kids had casts on.
Oh, that's
Because
so
they're
true.
out playing.
Oh my God, you don't see that anymore.
No, they're in bubbles. So
yeah, you're so right.
So obviously, I don't want to say, let your kids run wild and don't protect them. Protect them, but allow them to fail and pick them up and brush them off when they do, because how are they going to deal with adult failures and adult heartbreaks and adult business problems unless they encounter challenges now?
Right. That's so true. That's tough. I don't know, you can give me your opinion on it, but I'm very much like, my mom gets after me, my sister, my cousins, but I'm very much like trying to prepare him for like bad scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, look, if we talk about it all the time. Like, we talked about it yesterday, because I was late picking him up from school, and instead of going to aftercare, he somehow convinced the school that he was a front walker. And
no.
Yeah. And then he walked out front, and I wasn't there because
Yeah.
I get him from aftercare. He walked home 1.2 miles. Josh, fucking 5 years old. Like, has never been further than, 40 feet away from me since the day he was born. Walked a mile, 1.2 miles home. I was on my way to get him within 5 minutes. I get the doorbell rings, and it's Jax. And I'm like, mind was blown. Who walked you home? Or who dropped you off? He's like, I ran home, Mommy. His heart was beating.
Was he scared or in command?
Heart was beating out of his chest. Almost had a heart attack. Dripped in sweat. And he collapsed into my arms and like started sobbing. And I'm like, so mad at the school. How did this happen? And so, I'm like, damn, he's resourceful. I'm impressed by him. Like, he knew how to get home.
What a great learning experience.
Yes.
The same thing happened to me at his age. I walked home, and I'm the same as I am now, and I kicked the door open and yelled at my parents for forgetting me. But I still remember that, and like, I did this.
Yeah.
I can do it. And so that you don't want that situationally to happen much.
Right.
But you can learn from it.
Oh, totally.
It's a great experience.
He'll never freaking forget that. And I use that now. It's like, okay, what would you have done? And he told me yesterday on the drive, Mom, I don't ever want to walk home again. I was like, hell no, not till you're older.
Yeah.
But like, what would you have done if Mommy wasn't home? And he's like, I would have stayed on the porch. And I'm like, actually, you should do this. We talked about like all the different scenarios. What would you have done if a car slowed down and tried to say, hey, I know your Mommy, hop in my car? He's like, kick him in the nuts. And I'm like, well, yes and no,
that's
kid.
3 on the list,
like,
maybe.
you got to run and, all the things. And
does he know your phone number?
we need to practice it again.
That's a good starting point is, roll off the phone number. So like if we're at a festival, if they know my phone number, I'm a little bit more at ease.
Yeah.
Because I know in that situation they could go up to an adult, and call me.
Yeah, I've very much instilled in him, like, always go up to someone that works there with a name tag, or number one, go find a mommy with kids. Go find a mommy with kids. She will help you. But yeah, talk about like a story that he'll remember forever. That's it's what he's growing. That was like a moment to grow,
Go Jackson. That's good.
Oh my God. It was a freaking hard.
After the rules are established, go Jackson. Yeah.
I know, exactly. So, what values are you intentionally instilling in your children when it comes to strength, respect, and emotional intelligence? We kind of just, touched on that. And you're raising a girl, as we're, touched on masculinity, but you're also raising a girl. So is that different? Like, do you take a very different approach, or is it pretty similar?
Well, they're very different. So I think that leads to different approaches with interaction. I know how to interact with both of them and how they find their best strength from me, right? So with her, it's all about play.
Okay.
With her, it's about play and getting involved with her. And I don't mind I love, the imagination stuff, pushing on the swing, on the merry-go-round. I like to tap into her imagination, desires that way. He is more about analysis and, figuring out math problems and geography problems and books and things like that, which is great too. I enjoy those type of things. And I really like to hash it out with both of them. And I try to not speak to them like adults too much.
Okay.
Right? There's that happy medium, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to baby talk kids. But then again, you don't want to be like, well, so what do you think about China entering, you don't want to do that either, which sometimes I tend to do.
So Mateo's how old?
10.
10. Okay. And Charlotte?
5.
They're 5 years apart.
It's a great.
My sister and I are 5 years apart.
It's a great. They're good friends.
Yeah.
They support each other. They're at each other, of course.
Yeah.
The other times too. But isn't it good that they have each other? Which is great.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, your sibling's your first friend, right?
That's right.
They teach you, the most important things in life. So do you feel like one personality favors more you and the other Claudia?
Right now, Charlotte probably favors more me and Mateo more Claudia.
Okay.
But that changes. As a young person, I was shy and I was, somewhat withdrawn to myself until I reached my early 20s.
Okay.
Really. So they changed.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. As do we.
Yeah. It's so true.
Yeah.
So, fatherhood, flexibility, and role balance. You work in real estate, which offers flexibility, but also unpredictability. How do you approach being deeply involved with your kids while still maintaining your identity and purpose as a man and professional?
Yeah, that's great. I made the commitment, having children older and already established in my career, I made the commitment for this deep, intense time of child rearing to be focused on them. Not that I'm not focused on my career. I like you. I love it. We've been in it long enough where it is second nature. We know how to address and solve real estate problems when they come to us. So I think you and I are both probably pretty good at compartmentalizing, deeply involved with kids and deeply involved with our real estate business and transactions and marketing our business, which it's one of the few businesses that we can do this.
Yeah,
right. We are really fortunate. And Claudia has a more regimented full-time job as an attorney, which serves itself very well to the back and forth that we have with the kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not lost on me at all. Like, I never take it for granted how lucky we are to be in this industry and to be in this position to be totally available for our children. It's a grind and it's like 7 days a week. I saw a thing once that was like, I chose to get into real estate. So I'm not the traditional 9 to 5, 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
Instead, 8 a.m. to midnight.
7 days a week. Yeah.
200 hours a week, which is so true. But at the same time, it does allow us all this flexibility to be able to be there for our kids.
And because of that, I take my kids to open houses with me.
Yeah.
And I have him arrange the kids' room.
Yeah.
And so there is some of it bleeds through. And you and I are professionals that even though, kids can take priority, we're returning that call or text in a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We know both angles really well. And I think it's sometimes good for kids to see us working really hard late at night or on weekends. I think that's a great thing. And I don't think it's a bad thing if you miss a soccer game or a gymnastics performance because we're working that weekend. They see it, right? And it's, we love to be at their events, but they see that when we're working to take care of them and to work really hard to give them the things that they want, I think they see that.
Yeah.
I'm sure they see that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
My cousin Susie is such a selfless, incredible mother. She also was in real estate. I don't think since Sohan was like little, I don't think Susie has ever missed a soccer game. And he's 18 now in high school, which is freaking incredible.
That is a record.
But at the same time, I'm like, shit, I don't know about all that. Like, if I gotta whatever, we're gonna do it.
Like, but that's okay too.
She
right?
also has a partner that, helps support her and
Yes.
stuff. I don't have the luxury doing that, but so maybe that's the difference. But yeah. Okay. Culture, identity, and raising Mexican children.
Mm-hmm.
Your wife is a first generation immigrant from Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
and you're raising Mexican children
Mm-hmm.
as a white father.
Mm-hmm.
With everything happening nationally around immigration and ICE, how do you think about protecting your children emotionally while still preparing them for reality?
Wow. I mean, there's so much going on, right? And we talk to them about it um, and I do it in a very direct way, and that it's just a life lesson that sometimes things in the world are off, and that sometimes there's no explanation for them. And my personal opinion, things might get worse before they get better, but I truly believe they will get better, soon. And I tell them as such. And when you know, um, kids understand what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Kids are resilient, and when we go out and meet people, and meet kids, kids are smart,
Yeah.
and I think that's a thing that we really have going for us as a nation, that kids are smart, and they isn't it wonderful that when your kids are smarter than you were at that age?
Yeah,
I'm like, if I knew the stuff that you guys did at your age, incredible. And I think with people of differing opinions, I think it's good that the best thing that we can do is talk to them too, right? Because when we get out there with our kids or business wise, most people are great.
Yeah.
Most people
are
really,
kind and nice.
They really are.
Yeah.
Of all political and otherwise persuasions. So I think to educate our kids about these things is just be aware. Look around you, be aware of where you are and what you're doing and what's going on. Find a helper if you need one, and that most people are good and here for you. And the things that you hear that may be unsettling or may be uncomfortable or may not be good will always get better, right? And I think they will. The majority of us want good things.
Yeah.
Over 50% of kids under 18 in this country are non-white. So it's over 50% of kids under 18 are non-white.
I didn't know that. I know, like, within X amount of years, the majority will be the minority, right?
Right.
Will be children like ours, and
Yep.
Will be the majority.
So the majority will have a say.
Yeah.
And if it's not now, it'll come.
Yeah.
And there may be, some trepidation in the middle, but it'll be okay. Don't you think so? Are you optimistic about?
That's all I have is optimism. Fuck. That's all I have going for me.
Then what about the short term until we get to a place where we need to be?
It's fine. I feel like people are exposing themselves, and I feel like it's you see so much the negative because it's so extreme, but it's getting put out in the forefront because it's not okay. And I think that's the difference, is the majority are not okay with that. The majority do not feel that way. The majority are not racist. They do not want to segregate us. They are embracing, and they fully recognize that this is like what makes America great, right? It's diversity. And watching the Olympics, it gives me so much pride, because so many of those athletes are just speaking up, and they're immigrant, they're children of immigrants, and they are on the biggest platform in the world.
True.
And they're representing us as a nation, where everyone else is looking at us right now and they're like, what the hell is going on in the United States? This is crazy. They are there representing us and representing the best of us. And so, yeah, I have a lot of hope. I'm in a unique position to where I am raising a biracial child. So he identifies as Black. And so I'm like, boy, you aren't Mexican too. And I'm Greek, but I'm like, I don't even want to introduce the Greek.
My kids are Mexican first,
Yeah.
which I love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to like I talk about being Greek. I think if my dad was alive, it would be so much more influenced in our household. But when I'm around my Greek family, then it's all Opa and
Yeah.
But day to day, it's my family and his dad's family, and he identifies as Black, and I love that. The people will see Jackson as Black, right? And so that's a whole other level of awareness from a parenting perspective, having a big Black boy. Jax is going to be big. He's already like 4'1" at just turned 6. His dad's 6'4". He's going to be a big Black boy. And so, just that level, my mom, my sister are like, you're so strict. And I'm like, I'm raising a little Black boy. Like, I need his ass to be in line and be respectful and listen. I let my kid be a kid, but maybe I am a little more with him than other people are. And I just feel like I have a different level of responsibility. The focus is you're smart, you're kind, but also you need to listen. I need to know that you know how to behave when you're not with me. And it's for his safety, right? And then now there's this whole other layer of like being Mexican. He's freaking Mexican too. And I have never been more proud in my life to be Mexican than I am right now with everything that's going on. And you know me, we're both like, we're obsessed with Mexico, always have been. We've been traveling to Tulum for 20 years before people even knew what
That's
Tulum
right.
was.
Yeah.
Like especially maybe it's a Texas thing. The culture is incredible. The food, the people, the beaches, the interior, like literally Mexico as a whole is one of the most beautiful countries, beautiful cultures, and beautiful people
Yeah.
ever. And I have more pride than ever to be Mexican right now with everything that's going on. And if you can't see that, you think we're a threat, you think we're this, you think we're that, I don't want to see your ass on vacation in Cabo. I don't want to see your ass eating some chips and salsa and drinking a Mexican for real. Fuck you. You don't deserve it. You don't get to have the benefits of, the immigrants. We're the ones picking your fruit, cleaning your houses, raising your babies. We're good enough for all of that. And then now all of a sudden, like we're criminals and rapists and need to get deported. Disgusting. So I'm very vocal about that on my social media. Everyone knows exactly where the hell I stand and how I feel about it. And if you feel differently, then you and I unfollow me, block me. We are not the same. We have different morals and different values. And so it's just, and Jax, I don't filter any of those conversations. I'm not having them with him, but he hears, he's smart. He knows what's going on and how I feel. And it's interesting he doesn't identify more as Mexican because I'm sure and vocal about it. But yeah, it's just
Maybe
different.
at his dad's house, he says, I'm Mexican. He plays you both.
That's hilarious. I'm gonna have to ask Glenda. That's hilarious.
I think, like the civil rights movement, I think that people will see that there's a line too far and things begin to change. And I can't believe it hasn't happened yet.
Right. I mean, what else has to happen for it to freaking see it, for people to see that? Because the rest of us see it.
Give it time.
Yeah.
But we'll get there.
Oh, well, yes, I have full faith, and the majority of people are good, and our generation, the younger kids, will truly, be like the hope that we need for the future.
Has your vocal stance, affected business at all? Do any of your clients question your positions?
No, the majority of my clients, have always been empty nesters. And so I feel like it's kind of a combination now of like empty nesters and first time home buyers. I don't know. Maybe I'm losing business, but to me, it's business I would have probably never gone. I have no idea. Certainly no one, I've never had like an active listing to where someone was like, hey, we saw, a post on real estate. We're not comfortable working with you. No,
Mhm.
no, no. That's never
Good.
happened
Okay.
to me before. My mom's very much like, oh my God, you're going to lose business and I'm like, I'm not worried about it. I don't want to work with anyone who thinks me or my child are less than or need to get deported. And like, no, I don't want that business anyways.
Well,
And
that's one of the
so,
many things that makes me proud of you, because I'm often um, anxious to put a lot of my personality into my business. Where if I'm with people that new clients I'm not familiar with, I don't tell jokes.
yeah,
I don't really give much information
yeah.
about me. And this is kind of how I operate. And some of my clients like. Some of my clients don't know how to pronounce my last name,
Hmm.
and that's okay.
Yeah.
Right? I'm good. I want to make it about them. So, but that's something, learning from you and other successful agents. And to the point of being in my 50s now,
Yeah.
uh, I should be ready to put some more personality in my work, because you know what, you're right. If they don't like it, they don't have to work with me.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
some other people, will gravitate towards you because of that, right?
yeah,
They'll want to work with you because of that.
right,
Those are my people.
right.
And then some people just don't give a shit, right? They just are like, she's great at what she does, and that's what I'm going to focus on. And,
Find me a house.
same thing
Yeah,
with my clients. I'm not going to work with someone at their MAGA. Like, you are kind and nice and respectful. Like, that's all that matters. And so I think, especially when it comes to business, so yeah, I don't know. But I imagine if you feel that way, you probably don't want to work with me, because I'm pretty vocal about like where I stand and how I feel, and I don't hide that.
thank God we work in Austin.
I know, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. That's also the difference,
yeah,
right? We live and work in a city like Austin, and
yes,
so there's so many like-minded individuals
yep.
that feel, even though they may not be vocal, they feel exactly how we feel, and
And not like-minded individuals that we're still friends with,
yeah,
and that's
yeah,
okay too.
exactly,
Yeah,
100%. So I know for a lot of people, there's like this line is like crossed and can never go back, and for me, I'm choose to be like, okay, well, I have family, I have friends, and I know they voted this way, but I know in their heart, like, they're good people, and I hope, they're not
it
racist,
and
and
it
they're not.
helps. That's what we need to do, is talk about opposing
Yeah,
views, talk about different viewpoints. Because when we're not talking, I think that where we started, when we're not talking, it leads to problems,
yeah.
and it leads to discourse that probably shouldn't be there in the first place. Right? So we've got to talk to one another.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
actually just had a situation happen to where a friend of mine, I found out about that Valentina girl running for like Texas Congress or senator
Hmm.
office in Texas. You know who
Hmm.
I'm talking about? Valentina Gomez, I believe.
I
But
don't.
she's a disgusting Islamophobe,
Oh.
like very vocal,
Oh.
homophobic.
Yeah.
Just found out about her, and I was repulsed at there's like a video of her blowtorching a Quran. And so I was like, who is this bitch? So I go on her Instagram, and knew 3 people following her. 2 were men, and I immediately unfollowed. And then one was like someone that I consider a friend. I sent a message and was just like, hey, so I just found out about this individual. I see that you follow and engage. And they were liking like recent videos.
Hmm.
And I was like, I just want, before I jump to conclusions, I want to understand what that's about.
It's
Because
great.
you do not strike me
Yeah.
as someone who is homophobic, racist,
Islamophobic.
Islamophobic, xenophobic, like, so she came back and she was like, oh my God, I was getting all this crazy propaganda about, Muslims as teeny tiny elite group of like, or not elite rather, but a small group of extreme, basically terrorists. And she was like, I'm terrified, I don't want my children to be exposed to that. And so I just like fell into it, and I'm like, okay, well, this is not okay. I don't know if you have Muslim friends. I lived in Saudi Arabia. We grew up with the Quran in our house. I've dated Muslim men and have so many friends. It's a beautiful culture, just like Buddhism, and anything, right? There are extreme in any, but this one was literally categorizing all of them as terrorists. That's crazy. And you're smarter than that. And so we were actually able to have like a whole little dialogue back and forth. And she was like, I thank you so much. I'm disappointed in myself. I'm embarrassed. You know, this is why, not that it's an excuse, but thank you for giving me the opportunity to explain myself and for also like broadening my horizons and helping me, you know, understand, like, because that's not who I am at my core and not the values I want to instill in my children. And so I'm like, okay, I'm doing the Lord's work out here, one person at a time.
That's wonderful. And and you just reached out and you got a long way. But think about her feed and what the nonsense that she's being fed.
Saying,
So I can understand, I don't agree with, but I can understand how people can be manipulated into saying that they support someone like that because of what they hear all day in their feeds. And that the lies that that they're being fed that aren't accurate, and how they feel scared. And then like someone like that.
I'm like, girl, you do not need to be scared of them. You need to be scared of like white male terrorists, the American terrorists. That's like a real threat, you know, that are racist. I'm like, you're freaking brown, like, girl.
Not all white males.
Well,
that's
our biggest domestic threat and terrorist, or, you know, it's not Islam.
Homegrown, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Homegrown freaking terrorists. That's you should be far more afraid of that than the shooting up your kid's school, than Muslim person stealing your child and taking them to Afghanistan.
Kids and young men with access to guns is a threat. Yeah. Where what she was responding to is not.
Exactly. But one conversation at a time.
Good for you.
Yeah. Travel, was shifting gears.
Mm-hmm.
Travel as education. You're very intentional about traveling internationally with your kids, which is freaking amazing. Why is exposure to the world so important to you as a parent? And what do you hope your children gain from seeing different cultures firsthand?
Yeah, well, it's all encompassing. It's everything that we've been talking about is getting our kids out of the bubble that they live in here. And as a parent, and especially as an older parent, I've mentioned to you that I have real challenges with how raising kids now is different, where they're not out on bikes and disappearing and at home by themselves. You know, don't tell anybody that I've left my kids at home by themselves and I went to the grocery store. So when we travel, that puts us into a new realm and a world of opportunities and new discoveries. When we go to the airport, my kids find our gate. I took Charlotte to New York in August and had her find subway platforms and which way to go on the subway. And we were leaving. I had a work call at 2:00 and we were having lunch. And I said, oh, Charlotte, we've got to get an Uber. We got to go back to the hotel room because I have a work call. And she says, Papa, just take a subway. It's quicker. And I looked at it and I'm like, damn, you're right. It is quicker. And we were back in like 20 minutes. It was great. So I think those experiences that we can't get here, I want to give them there, wherever that may be. And I like to travel where we get to know people in our destination. In Italy, I have a best friend who has a vineyard in Tuscany. And we spent there for a week and we worked it.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, we worked the vines.
Just you and Teo, right?
Just me and Mateo. He was in charge of the chickens and getting the eggs every day.
Oh my gosh.
You know, I want them to have those experiences. Yeah. And then Charlotte, I start traveling alone with them when each of them turns 5. So Charlotte, we went to New York. We did 2 days in Manhattan, and then we visited family for 2 days in Brooklyn. And it was wonderful. And she was more excited about visiting family than she was, you know, hanging out in Manhattan, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
So like you know, it's a big, wonderful world, and luckily we can get anywhere in the world in 6 hours. For the most part. It's great. And then I want to challenge myself as well with my kid travel. Mateo and I have a planned summit of Mount Kilimanjaro in 2028.
Oh my God.
And we'll try to, you know, take whoever we can and document it on video. And incorporate my other best friend who's African to climb with us and make it a full circle journey.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm a late bloomer traveler with my kid. Jack's barely for the first time got on a plane last year. And it's because he was a fucking nightmare when he was little. I didn't want to do that to anyone. Like,
on the plane.
Hell no.
Well,
or
we
much
all
less
have that,
myself.
We all have that one plane trip that every parent has. Right?
Well, I avoided it because I just didn't get my ass on a plane because Jack's was just 2 to 3. Okay, 3 to 4. He kicked my ass. It was like a guarantee he was going to have a meltdown, like a 90% guarantee. He would be the kid that's kicking the seat in front of us, screaming, crying, like, hell no. I never wanted to do that to myself or anyone else. I don't know, good, bad, and different. It is what it is, but here we are. And now this guy's a limit. So he traveled 3 times last year, did it incredible on the plane. We're going to take him on getting his passport. We're going to go international this year.
Great.
But I love that you are like that. That will be us. That you're traveling international with your children. I grew up, we lived overseas when I was little, Saudi Arabia, and went everywhere, all over the world when we lived in Saudi. And so I have, those memories, and I want that.
And take those challenges. The challenges of travel are the most memorable parts, right? Being stuck in a train station or having to pivot to figure out and have work something else out with your kids is the best part, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
So I cherish those moments that they can do something on their own, that stuff happens and things are delayed. And you know what? That's life.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it fun as well.
Yeah. That adversity is just, you're just out here building character.
I hope so.
So, love, marriage, and parenting later in life. You and Claudia were very intentional about getting married and having children in your 40s. How did maturity change the way you approach partnership and parenting?
And this is a personal view, but I am a such better parent in my 40s and 50s than I would have been younger. I was much too selfish in my 20s and 30s. And I really I have a great amount of respect for those parents who had kids young and who did it then. And now they're done.
Oh yeah,
their kids are in college. Nesters. My best friend's kids are in college and a senior going to college. And that's great.
Yeah.
They're in a very good position. Yeah. But I love having kids older. I love that we waited, and it's just been a wonderful, renewing experience for me, and it keeps me young.
Yeah.
I don't have a choice to not be active.
Right.
Right. So my parents had me young, and, sometimes they're bored now. It's like, what do we do?
Yeah.
You guys are grown, and, so I don't have a choice but to be active and to be engaged. And it keeps me, I think, youthful and really keeping up with them.
Yeah, I agree. I was 38 when I had Jax.
Yeah.
And
it's a great age. Yeah. And we're going to, we should all live to be 100.
Yeah, please God.
Yeah, we have long, different aspects of our life. We have many iterations of our life. Think of the life you lived, the lives you've lived.
Yeah, truly.
Now, yeah, and it's great. And we have a long way to go.
Yeah, I sometimes think, I feel now I'm like, okay, I'm too old, to have a kid. Not that I'm too old, but I'm like, I'm good to have another one, to start all over again. He can wipe his own butt. We've reached great milestones. But then I'm like, shit, man, in 20 years from now, or not even in 10, and it's just hard those first, few years. And then it's so fun. I'm like, in 5 years from now, we could have a freaking 9 and a 5-year-old.
I know, and think about those babies, how much fun they are.
Sitting at the table with us. I think about that, but then I'm like, hell no. I'm enjoying
let life play its course.
Travel and all the things and stuff. But because kids really do keep you young, and it's but I also envy and then see people like you said that, because we're at the age where we could totally have a 20-something-year-old or a 5-year-old.
Exactly.
Grandparents are, so, our friends that do have their empty nesters, I'm like, damn.
I like it now. I love being in the thick of it. It's fun.
Yeah. It gives a whole other, meaning right, to life and purpose.
Well, I don't think kids are easier than I thought they would be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because I was older as well.
Yeah.
Like going to the park isn't hard.
Yeah.
You know, playing on the swing set isn't hard. Going to a soccer game isn't hard. It's everything else that's hard.
Yeah.
It's your lack of time
Yeah.
that you have for everything else. It's coordinating your business when you have other obligations with them.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think with age, they're easy.
Oh, yeah.
It's
course.
Yeah, it's everything
Yeah,
else.
It's getting way easier
Yeah.
the older they get.
Yeah.
So what do you think is the key to your success as a couple?
You know, we both had, we were both very independent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's, you know, when you look for a partner, you're going to be drawn towards what you need, right? What you need the most to fulfill yourself. And being two independents, it's a good feeling to want, but not need.
Yeah.
Right? So we like that. And then, you know, we both could have stayed single and had fulfilling, happy lives, but we didn't want to, and we certainly wanted kids. So that made that choice very easy.
Yeah.
And then as far as success in the relationship, as I mentioned, I think it's a good idea not to keep score, right? Not to keep tabs on who does what, especially as we're both busy professionals in the midst of two young kids. You can't, if you keep score, you'll inevitably lose, right?
Yeah.
Like who did this and who went to get the groceries and who's picking the kids up from Taekwondo. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right. At the end of the day, it just doesn't matter. If I do it all one week and she does it all the next week, I'm good. You know, it's just this is what we signed up for. And so I think we uplift each other. We never keep score on each other.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the whole notion of like 50-50 bullshit. It's
it
never
doesn't
going to be
happen.
50-50.
Never.
The scales are forever.
Life isn't 50-50.
Yeah. The scales will forever be. And so long as, sure, maybe the average is, you know, closer to balance. But yeah, some days you're giving 80 and your partner's giving 20. And the next day it's 60-40. Like, it's so important to just make the other person feel seen and appreciated. I think with women, the burnout's real, right? Because
Yes.
the women carry this like invisible weight and they do them. I know I did, you know, in my previous relationship, it was like doing the majority, you know, 80% of the time. For me, it was like, well, shit, well, what's the point? I'm better off single and living in peace than in a partnership where I feel lonely and I'm carrying, you know, the majority of the weight. Forget that shit. But when you're in a great, incredible, loving, healthy, you know, relationship, it's just, it's never going to be balanced. But so long as, you know, there's love and respect and, you know, I think not keeping score is huge.
Yeah. And we can do it all. Like even, you know, alone, we can do it all. We can raise great kids and have good jobs and have time for ourselves and make time for friends.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm very lucky to have a partner that to do it with, right?
Yeah.
I could do it all.
Yeah,
and I sometimes I like doing it all, but I enjoy it more shared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's important too, like you said, keeping score, but I think for me with arguing, it was always like, I don't need to be right. I just want to feel heard and I want to be seen.
Yes.
You know, like, because there's no winning in this.
There's no winning.
Because that means someone's losing and
Yeah.
I'm not trying to win. I want to feel heard. I want I want understanding, you know, and compassion and love and like all the things that everyone wants in a relationship, you know, and to have it now. Finally.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you. It's so nice. Oh my God. Okay. So we'll end on, we'll shift rather, but have to get into real estate. So real estate reality check and humor. You've been in real estate for 27, how many? 25, 22?
I started
I'm
when
23.
I started when I was 21 years old, which is now 30 years ago.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's longer than most people have survived in our business. So
longer than most people are aged in our business now,
Yeah.
right?
Oh
like
my God.
most are 30 or under.
Okay, what has real estate taught you about patience, resilience, and control?
Yeah, I mean, it's taught me all the things that we've talked about today. I had tremendous success in my 20s. in the mortgage business. So I started in the mortgage business when I was 21 years old and grew in office and had tremendous success. And when the Great Recession came around, 2008 to 2010, I lost that success. And, it was a bad business, and it was not a good situation. But it is probably the thing in my life that I've learned the most from is to overcome failure, resilience in failure. And I knew that I was really damn good at what I did. I really knew that I had a connection and a deep care about the people that I worked for. So even though that time in my life seemed like a low point, it was really just a stepping stone to get back up. So I really felt that being in the middle of my career thus far really helped in a lot of ways. And then coming out of that, then I took, a summer to travel Europe and disappeared to Africa for a couple months. And I came back and got into real estate. And then I met you, right? Got into real estate sales. So I was very, very fortunate along those lines. And I'd already built the relationship aspects of real estate. That's the most important thing. And where we talked about AI cannot replace us, right? Because it's relationship building and will always be needed and for our expertise because of our relationship building. And that's proved very successful in my career. I make transactions about my clients, not about me. I try to be humble. And listen, and then I get really involved. This is something I'm actually trying to get better at with better delegation as I get so involved with each of my deals.
You're too involved.
and before kids, they were my babies.
Yeah.
Right? And I enjoyed the results maybe that didn't start off so easy that ended up, everybody was happy. But now as we go forward, I need to scale, and I'm doing a better job at scaling, efficiency, delegation, volume, while still being that point of contact for my clients and being a good source for them.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So what keeps you from completely losing your mind some days?
Well, we're all dying. Act accordingly, right? It's the big picture. Like, we are all lucky to be where we're at, and I take a big picture approach, and nothing is ever as bad or as good as it seems, right? So I think just if we don't take anything for granted, we all lighten up a little bit, and I think one of the things that has saved me in career wise, and I don't have any gray hair yet, is that we can lighten up. Yeah. Right. Yeah. We do a service for our clients, but we're not performing surgery. We're service and doing a good job and getting the transactional deal that they want, but we can, with a light heart and an open mind, I'm cool. Yeah. Right.
And that's so important because, a lot of things can go sideways very quickly in real estate. And it's so important for us to you might be stressed out, dying on the inside, but it's just like they're looking to you, right, to be the voice of reason. And so it's tough. This market's tough. We've been doing it a long time. I feel like I've never worked so hard for so little in my life.
Agreed.
And it's like the whole shift with the real estate industry last year and the commissions, and even though it hasn't really changed, it was just like some people, this perspective shift, and it's just like, also with the $1 million listings and everything on TV, people think it's this glamorous, we make so much money, and it's like bullshit. I'm working for free. I'm working like a damn dog until it closes, and then 50% of the time it doesn't even close, right? You can have a listing, we're trying to sell your house, and we're spending all this time, energy, effort, money, marketing, and then it doesn't sell, and then we pull it off the market, and we'll try again next year. And then here we are. I've been working for a year for you. for free. Like, I have to remind people that. And I also have to remind people, like, this is my livelihood. I am a single mother. Like, I'm not doing this for fun. I love what I do. But at the end of the day, this is how I support myself and my child. And I think it's all about perspective. I just saw a thing recently on Instagram where I was talking about the best salespeople are people that are optimistic. And it's so true. It's because true. Shit hits the fan every other day in real estate. There's always something, like you're losing business, and you didn't get a listing, or your client didn't win the multiple offer situation. But if you come to it, and I have mastered this, look, I'm like, of course that happened. Just when bad things happen or things don't go your way, it's like, it's okay. It's all learning opportunity. This is a lesson, something what can I do better next time? How can we be in a better position to win? And I heard that and I was like, amen. Because that's all we have.
And we're in this for the long term.
Yeah.
Right. So it comes back, the relationships that we've made 5 years ago, it takes a long time. So I think, our longevity is helpful in these type markets, because we formed the relationships and we're in it for the long term.
Yeah.
And you're right, there's challenge. But it's a good thing. I still lose sleep about deals. Do you?
Oh, duh. Of course.
Well, I don't want to, but
of course. Yeah.
And I told you I kicked a squatter out of one of my listings yesterday.
That was crazy.
And you know what that was? A Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Oh my God. Yeah. The things we deal with, there's so many things behind the scene. It's interesting because I feel like we could do a whole podcast on real estate, but I wasn't called to do that. I was called to do something very different with, like, my podcast. This is my little passion project. And I feel like, there's so much to learn from other people. And I love, like, sharing their stories and getting inspiration. And but I also love talking about real estate too. There's just, people have no idea. Even when we work, right, you can attest to this with seasoned people that have bought and sold multiple real estate throughout their years. It's crazy to me because I work with a lot of empty nesters, and a lot of times they're like, in the beginning, make it very clear that they have bought and sold 20 properties over the years. But then they're still coming to you as, to guide them. They're still coming to you as the expert, and they're still, you realize, like, okay, just because someone has bought and sold 20 times does not mean they know what the hell is going on. And we play such an important, integral role in helping these people and guide them.
And they recognize your value.
Yeah.
They recognize your value. And that's where when people argue about commission, or they don't want to use a real estate agent because of the commissions paid, inevitably they sell for less than they would have with an agent, and would have come out ahead using an agent.
Of course.
And that's okay. That's hopefully a lesson they only learn once.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to let them do it. So people value you, people value me.
Yeah.
And that's what makes us successful.
Amen to that. So we will end on legacy and purpose. Mm-hmm. When your children are grown, what do you hope they say about the kind of man and father you were?
Wow, great question. Unconditional, it's the easy answers. Unconditional love, mm-hmm. But I try, as you know too, you're not always going to be their best friend.
Yeah.
At some point. I hope it comes back to that. Like, mm-hmm. when they're older, you'll be best friends. But you don't want to be friends. You want to be parents for the most part. Mm-hmm. Do things that build your relationship as that bond, but it doesn't always have to be friends.
Yeah.
And I like that most of the things I do, they see as a teaching experience, mm-hmm. a learning experience. And I really think the point of our lives is to give opportunities to our kids maybe that we didn't have, to make their lives more fulfilled, that they can be successes beyond their wildest dreams, and to just encourage that. I think it's really important to be their biggest advocate, mm-hmm. and to if they know that they can always come to me. We're all going to have. You think our kids? I don't think drunk driving will ever be an issue, because I don't think they're going to be driving.
Yeah,
they're going to be Waymoing everywhere.
Yeah, let's hope.
We don't have to have that conversation that you can call me any time of night because you're just in a Waymo and you can come home,
you're in
right?
your Tesla that's driving you home. So,
to work really hard so they can become the people that they're meant to be. And if they look back and say, I got here with my parents' help, I think that's the sign of success.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're an incredible person. You're a wonderful father and a husband. Thank you for being my friend.
I love
Thank you
being
for
your
coming
friend.
on the show.
We've said it all.
Yeah. Thanks, Josh.
We'll do it again. Thank you, Krystle.